Okay.
Okay, recording is on. Go ahead, Mohammed. Sorry about that.
No problem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Mohammed Al-Garmi. I am the director of the College and Career Program with AAYSP, the California chapter. Today is our first presentation of the school year, and we will be presenting on the A through G requirements in California. We have two guest speakers with us today. We have Rebecca Glaze. She is the school counselor at Centerville Junior High School. She is a colleague of mine, and she's a great counselor. She does wonderful things with our students. She's a great advocate for young people, and I think for me personally, she's a great resource for the Yemeni American community. So we are very honored to have her here today. And most of you already know Sina. She's the youth program specialist at the Yemeni American Youth Center. She'll be translating today's event. So if you guys have any questions, please send it through the chat, either in Arabic or English. And then we will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. And without further ado, here is Rebecca Glaze. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this presentation, and then we'll take questions afterwards, inshallah.
Good evening. It's very nice to meet you. I'm so thankful to get to be here with you tonight. I have been a colleague with Mr. Al-Garmi for about the last 5 years. I've been a counselor here in the Bay Area in California for the last 15 years. So A to G requirements are something near and dear to my heart, and kind of almost a memorized pattern for me because I do this every year with my families at my school. I'm really happy to be here with you and to do this together. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll also have my email address as well, so you can check in with me later if you have questions. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can look at the presentation together. Okay, so this presentation is going to be A to G college course requirements, and it's going to be with myself and Sina. I'll be doing the English and she'll be doing the Arabic.
Asina, I think you're muted.
أوكي، هذه متطلبات الدخول للجامعة وستبدأ بالفقرة الأولى. تفضلي.
Our first slide is just talking about the college options, and in California, there are 4 major options that you and your children can choose from together. Each of them, as we progress through the 4 slides, the 4 options on this slide are a little more difficult to get into. So the first option is the California Community College. There are 115 community colleges in California, because really the goal is that every single student in California can go to a community college. You might know some of these community colleges in our community. We have Ohlone in Fremont, we have Chabot in Hayward, we have Las Positas in Livermore, Diablo Valley, Berkeley City, lots and lots and lots, 115 of them. Every single student can go to a community college. You can either get an associate's degree or a certificate there, or you can do a transfer degree to a 4-year university. The benefit of a community college is that it's lower cost, and that the requirements are less. You can get in with the California High School Proficiency Exam, a GED, or alternative options, or a school diploma. The second option is the California State University. It's a little more difficult than the community college to get into, and instead of a 2-year degree or a certificate, you'd be looking at earning a 4-year bachelor's degree. California State Universities are all the schools that say state in their name. So San Jose State, Fresno State, Sacramento State, San Francisco State, 23 of them with state in their name. Actually, 22 have state in their name. Cal Poly, I don't know why we don't call it a state, but it actually is a state as well. In order to get into the CSUs, you need to meet the A to G requirements that we're going to be talking about tonight. Generally speaking, you're going to need to have taken the SAT or the ACT, and you need to graduate from high school as well. The next option over, the most difficult and highest esteemed colleges in California are the University of California, or the UCs. There are only 9 of them. So that would be UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis. Anything with a UC in front of it is one of those colleges. In general, the California state universities, about 1/3 of students qualify to get in. So every single student can qualify to go to community college. 33% of students qualify for the CSUs, and only 12.5% qualify for the UCs. The fourth option are private schools or out-of-state schools. Those can be things like Stanford, MIT, Penn State, NYU. Those vary based on what the requirements are. You really have to check in with those schools specifically and make sure that you're taking the right courses for those classes. But all of the other ones that we're going to talk about today have the same requirements of the A to G.
Awesome. سنتحدث أولاً عن الخيارات المتواجدة لك. كلية المجتمع 115 سيكون عندك دبلوم جامعي Associate Degree، وهو دبلوم يمنح للطلاب الذين يجتازون دورة تحضيرية سابقة للتخصص الجامعي. تحول اعتمادات الكلية إلى جامعة تعتبر أقل تكلفة، تعد بمنح مجانية للطلاب. تتطلب شهادة ثانوية عامة أو ما يعادلها، وهي أيضاً تعطيك $250 تست كريدت. وأيضاً بعض الأحيان يفكر الناس أنك لا تحتاج للعمل الشاق في هذه الجامعة، لكنك ستأخذ امتحان ومن المهم أن تعمل بجد. الخيار الثاني جامعات ولايات كاليفورنيا التي هي CSU 23، تتطلب أو ستعطيك شهادة بكالوريوس، تفتح فرص العمل أكثر، تكلفتها أكبر، ولكن توجد مساعدات مادية بحسب الاحتياج. تتطلب منك كطالب شهادة ثانوية أو امتحان ال SAT أو ACT لل A through G requirements. الخيار الثالث الذي أمامك سيكون جامعات كاليفورنيا، عددها 9، وهي أي جامعة يكتب قبلها UC. شهادة بكالوريوس ستعطيك شهادة بكالوريوس تفتح فرص العمل بشكل أكبر للخريجين منها، تكلفتها بالطبع أكبر، وتوجد مساعدات مادية بحسب الاحتياج. يوجد تنافس عليها، تتطلب شهادة ثانوية وأيضاً A through G requirements أو متطلبات A through G، وتتطلب معدل 3.0 معناها B، ويأخذون فقط 12 من المتقدمين لهذه الجامعات، فقط 12% من المتقدمين لهذه الجامعات. الخيار الرابع الذي أمامك جامعات خاصة أو جامعات خارج الولاية، وتعطيك شهادة بكالوريوس، تفتح أمامك فرص العمل بشكل أكبر، تكلفتها أعلى من سابقاتها، وبالتالي التنافس عليها أكبر، متطلباتها تختلف بحسب كل جامعة.
Okay, so let's look at a few of the pathways and what this could look like for you as a family as your student moves to the next level. So when we look at graduating, congratulations, we're also proud of you. Throw a party, you graduated, you got your diploma. You have a few options, right? So the first one is go to the community. The first one is get a job. But the benefits of going to get more education are that you generally end up making more money. Statistics in the US show that the more education you have, the less likely you are to be unemployed and the more money you'll make annually. So really working with your family to help your student go to college and get that career and get a higher education is beneficial for your family and their future for years and years to come, even if it's hard for the first few years while they're in college. So the first option is community college, and your child would finish either their GED or their California proficiency exam or their diploma, and then they would go to community college, either get a 2-year degree or a certificate, and then they would go right into their career and start working. The next option would be if you wanted to go to the university, but you wanted to start at the community college and transfer. This is a really wonderful option right now in California. There was an assembly bill that was just passed 2 years ago that if students meet the requirements, if they graduate from high school and they're ready for college level classes, the first 2 years of courses up to a full load caseload is free for them, plus $250 per semester for books, which is really fantastic. It makes community college a really affordable option. And then they can transfer to the university with a bachelor's degree and then go on and get their career. The third option would be if students just want to go straight to the university, straight to their 4-year degree, and then move on either into graduate school or their career. The benefit of that option is that they don't have to worry about transferring. Sometimes when you transfer, you need to make sure that it's a sister school, that it's a connected university, because sometimes when students transfer, the classes won't transfer exactly. And so they'll have taken 4 credits of history, but the school will say, well, only 3 of those are going to transfer and you have to take another history class. Or an elective that they took won't qualify because it won't be an elective that's accredited at the next school, and so they'll have to take another elective. Every time you have to take an extra class, you have to pay for it. So we really want to make sure that we're getting into the right classes the first time to save you the money and the time. So the benefit of going straight to a 4-year university is that the student is enrolled in one school the whole time, and they generally graduate earlier. They usually graduate a year or 2 more quickly than if they had gone to a community college and transferred.
أوكي، سنتحدث الآن عن أمثلة على الطرق المختلفة للجامعة، كلها تبدأ من دبلوم الثانوية. الطريق الأول، يكون عندك دبلوم الثانوية، تذهب إلى كلية المجتمع لتحصل على دبلوم جامعي، ثم which is associate degree تأخذك من عام إلى عامين، ثم تذهب إلى الوظيفة. وفي هذه الجامعة التي هي جامعة أو كلية المجتمع سيعطى لك مبلغ $250 للكتب مدفوعة مقدما. إذا امتحنت وكنت أقل في درجاتك بالإنجليزي والحساب يجب أن تدفع لها لتصل للمستوى المطلوب، لذلك يجب أن تعمل بجد خلال سنوات الثانوية. الطريق الثاني، يكون عندك دبلوم الثانوية العامة، تذهب إلى كلية المجتمع من 2 إلى 3 أعوام، ثم تحول إلى جامعة لتحصل على شهادة البكالوريوس من 2 إلى 4 أعوام، ثم الوظيفة. الطريق الثالث، دبلوم الثانوية، تذهب مباشرة إلى جامعة دون العبور عبر كلية المجتمع، ويأخذك من 4 إلى 5 أعوام، ثم تحصل على شهادة البكالوريوس ثم الوظيفة. بالتالي يجب التنويه هنا على أن خريجي المدارس الثانوية في كاليفورنيا والذين تم قبولهم في أي من كليات المجتمع في كاليفورنيا مؤهلون للحصول على 2 عام من الرسوم الدراسية المجانية. للتأهل يجب أن يكون الطالب طالب جامعة للمرة الأولى في هذه الجامعة بدوام كامل، وأن يأخذ ما لا يقل عن 12 وحدة في الترم الواحد. الطريق الرابع، يمكنك الذهاب إلى الجامعة إذا توافرت لديك المتطلبات التي ستذكرها الأخت لاحقاً. Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the A to G requirements. Now, these classes are required if you want to go to a 4-year university in California, CSU or UC. You can see this slide is one that I took from the AVID program. It's a really fabulous program for students who are wanting to go into college. It's a great visual for which classes you need to take and how many years of each one you need. Okay, this is just to apply to get into a CSU or a UC. It does not mean you for sure will get in if you take these classes, but you for sure cannot apply if you don't take these classes. So A to G requirements is really just a name that's been given to the programs, the courses based on the English alphabet. So it's the first 6 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then each of those letters is connected to one of the courses that you're required to take, okay? So the first letter A is connected to history. History is a required course to graduate high school, but it also has special requirements if you want to go straight to a four-year college. So these are the four-year college requirements. They're not the high school requirements. In fact, for history, a lot of times the high school requirements are a little more diligent. There's also economics and government. Those aren't required A to G classes. They are required to graduate. So you still need to take them to get your diploma so that you can apply. In addition, you need to do these classes to apply to the CSUs and UCs. So the history classes, you need 2 years of history. The next one, the B, is English. You need 4 years of English in order to graduate and in order to apply to a CSU or a UC. This is the only class in all of high school that you're required to take and pass every single year in order to go to college. You must pass all 4 years or go to summer school and repeat them. There's no other option. The C course is mathematics. So for math, you're required to take 3 years of math, and you're required that those 3 years be Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. You can see on the picture that there's a fourth little graduation cap next to mathematics in gray. That's because they recommend that you take a 4th year of math in order to get into a good school or in order to be more competitive when you're applying to schools. You're not required to take that 4th year to apply, but it's recommended. If you're not in Algebra 1 as a 9th grader, sometimes students don't take Algebra 1 until 10th grade, then you would need to take Algebra 1 in 10th grade, Geometry in 11th grade, and Algebra 2 in 12th grade. So even though it's not going to feel fair because you're going to take 4 years of math in high school, you're still only taking 3 required years, okay? So you must make it through Algebra 2 in order to apply to a university. The next class is laboratory science. This one's a little bit crazy right now because the really important rule on laboratory science is that you have to be in a laboratory, and we're all doing science in our kitchens, right? You're probably doing experiments with baking soda and boiling water and all of those things. During distance learning, the course that you are enrolled in is an accredited course. And so as long as the course is an accredited science course, it's going to count. Other than distance learning though, you have to make sure that the classes that you're in for science are a laboratory science. If you take an online science class, or a summer school class that doesn't have a lab, that won't count and you won't be able to use that to apply. So science is the tricky spot where sometimes kids end up taking the wrong class and then not being able to apply. I've seen this happen to our high schoolers. So it's really important to make sure you take the right science classes. And science is required for 2 years. You're going to take biology and you're going to take chemistry. And then they really like to see a 3rd year of physics as well. So you really want to take all 3 of those. The E is foreign language. That's any language other than English that's in an accredited program. In Fremont, we have some Saturday programs that are accredited that students sometimes take. That works too. You just have to make sure that it's connected to your high school and been accredited by the Western Association of College Admission Counseling, what they call it, WACAC. So the schools do that, the high schools, every 6 years to make sure that all their courses are meeting the requirements. And those schools have to do that as well in order to qualify. You need to do at least the 2nd level of foreign language. So if you test in at a higher level, as long as the transcript shows that you made it to level 2 or higher, then you qualify. They'd like to see 3 levels. Depending on the degree that you're interested in, you may want to add more foreign language, or if you're interested more in like pre-med or engineering, you may want to just stick with the 2 years of language and add more science and math classes, okay? And then you need 1 year of visual performing arts. That could be drama, choir, stage design, art, pottery, any visual performing arts class. And then the G is a college prep elective, which really means 1 extra year of any of the top 5 above it. So if you did that extra year of math, if you did that extra year of science, if you did that extra year of foreign language, that would cover the G and you'd be all set. There are a few other things that I just wanted to mention to you while we're talking about this over on the side. One is that you have to earn a C or better in every one of these classes. Now, I like to say that we need a C to go to college, but a B is better and A is awesome. You really need to get at least a 3.0 GPA if you're going to apply to the UC, which is an average of a B in every class. But you can apply if you get a C or better. The class does not qualify if you get a D plus, a D minus, or an F. You'll need to go to summer school and repeat that class. Okay, and then like I was saying with the science where it can be tricky, you need to make sure that the classes that you're signing up for qualify for the A to G requirements. And the way that you do that is you check the course catalog for the courses that you're enrolling in. Okay, so sometimes the class will have a name that sounds like it's going to work, like maybe algebra functions, but you can see in the slide that algebra 1 has parentheses and a little C next to it. That C corresponds to the mathematics C, the A to G requirements letter of C, which tells you you get a qualification of mathematics if you pass that class. The algebra functions class below it doesn't have a C next to it. That means it's a math class that qualifies you to graduate high school, but it's not a math class that qualifies you to apply to a four-year college. So really important distinction. Also, we were having a discussion the other day, American government is a history class, but if you look on the course catalog in Fremont, where I work, it's listed as a G class, which means it's a college prep elective. It does not count as a history class for your A to G requirements. So it does count to get your diploma. It does not count toward university. Okay, so those are really important things, and that can be really, really tricky, which is why it's really important to make sure you check in with your school counselor and just make sure that they know you want to go to college and make sure that you're enrolled in the right classes. You should do that every single year. All right, and then the last thing, there's this really exciting news that they might be getting rid of the SAT, which like everyone rejoice because that's the hardest, most scary test of all time. However, they're still recommending, I just went to College Board to check, and they're still recommending for anyone who's going to start college before 2022, you need the SAT. And then for anyone who is starting after that, they're still recommending you take it until they get a new test in there, because the more data they have to decide who to choose and who not to, the better. And you don't want them to choose someone else because you didn't give us much information. Now, if you don't take the SAT, if you're a 12th grader, don't stress, because there's actually a module, and Sina, I apologize, I didn't say this, I think, when we talked earlier, so throwing things in at poor Sina. There's a continuum of what SAT score you need based on your GPA. If you have a high enough GPA score, you can apply to a college without taking the SAT. So that's a safety net thing. If you're a 12th grader and you haven't done that yet, you can still take the SAT. The next one is November 7th and December 5th. But you also might not be required to if your GPA is high enough. And then the last thing is that there are fee waivers for the SAT and the ACT through College Board, and I'm going to have that website on our last slide.
Awesome. سنتحدث الآن عن فقرة ما معنى A through G وكيف يمكن الذهاب إلى الجامعة إذا توافرت لديك متطلبات A through G. A through G يقصد بها أخذ دورات تسلسلية في 7 مواد دراسية كمتطلبات لتكون مؤهلاً للقبول في جامعة من جامعات كاليفورنيا. مثلاً مادة التاريخ والمتطلب لمدة 2 عام، مادة الإنجليزي المتطلب 4 أعوام، مادة الرياضيات والمتطلب 3 أعوام وينصح ب4 أعوام، مادة العلوم والمتطلب 2 عام وينصح ب3 أعوام، ثم مادة اللغة الثانية والمتطلب 2 عام وينصح ب3 أعوام، مادة الفنون والمتطلب 1 عام، ثم مادة التحضير للجامعة والمتطلب 1 عام. يجب أن تكون عندك جميع هذه المتطلبات خلال مرحلة دراستك للثانوية. يجب أن تحصل على درجة C أو أفضل في كل مادة من مواد A through G، وهي المواد التي ذكرتها سابقاً للتقديم في أي كلية. إذا حصلت على درجة D أو F فأنت بحاجة إلى الذهاب إلى المدرسة الصيفية لإعادة أو إكمال المادة، لكن سيظهر ذلك في سجل علاماتك. تأكد من أن كل فصل تقوم بالتسجيل فيه مؤهل لمتطلبات A through G كما فصلناها سابقاً. على سبيل المثال الجبر 1 صف الجبر 1 C يجب أن يكون أمامه أو خلفه هذا الحرف C. ثم وظائف الجبر بدون C إذا أخذت صف وكتب عليها الجبر بدون الحرف C بجانبها لا يحسب لك هذا كمتطلب من متطلبات A through G لإنهاء الثانوية. وفي العلوم أغلب الصفوف ستكون D في أكثر الأحيان، ويجب أن تأخذ أيضاً الSAT امتحان في الصف 11 ليس مقرراً لكن ينصح بأخذه في الصف 11. وعلى فكرة أسقطت جامعة كاليفورنيا هذا الاختبار، ربما لم يتم استخدامه بعد عام 2022 ولكن لا يزال موجوداً حتى عام 2022 على أمل وضع اختبار جديد بحلول عام 2025. يجب التنويه هنا أيضاً إلى أنه تنص معايير كاليفورنيا على أنه يجب على الطالب أن يبدأ الجبر 1 في الصف 9. إذا أخذ الطالب الجبر 1 في الصف 9 فسوف يأخذ الهندسة في الصف 10 والجبر 2 في الصف 11 وبعد ذلك سيكون قد أكمل الدورات المطلوبة لمادة الرياضيات. أما في حالة إذا بدأ الطالب الجبر في الصف 10 فلا بأس بذلك، ولكن حينها سيحتاج الطالب إلى أخذ الهندسة في الصف 11 والجبر 2 في الصف 12 لإكمال المواد المطلوبة منه. يجب التنويه إلى أنه على الطالب إنهاء الجبر 2 حتى يتمكن من التقدم أصلاً لجامعة ب4 أعوام يعني UC. إذا أكمل الطالب مادة الجبر 2 حتى الصف 11 فإنه يستحسن أن لا يضيع الصف 12 بدون أن يأخذ أي صف، يستحسن أن يستمر لسنة رابعة بدراسة الرياضيات يعني في صف 3 ثانوي بحيث يأخذ الصف التمهيدي لحساب التفاضل والتكامل كصف اختياري الذي سيكون بجانبه حرف G، لأنه من غير المحتمل أن تلتحق بواحدة من كبرى جامعات كاليفورنيا إذا لم تكمل الصف التمهيدي لحساب التفاضل والتكامل. وأنا هنا أتحدث عن الجامعات وليست كليات المجتمع UCs. أما متطلبات العلوم مادة العلوم فتنص على أنه يجب على الطالب إكمال فصول العلوم المختبرية، بمعنى أن يأخذ الطالب فصلين من الفصول 3 التالية: علم الأحياء والكيمياء والفيزياء. بشكل عام تفضل الجامعات علم الأحياء والكيمياء لكنها تقبل هذه الفصول 3 بشكل مثالي. أيضاً ذكرت الأخت ربكة أن هناك طريقة إذا وصلت إلى الصف 12 ولم تقوم بامتحان SAT، هناك طريقة لا تقلق، لا زال الحظ أمامك، فيمكنك إذا كان عندك درجات عالية معدل درجات عالية which is high GP إذن لن يكون ستتخطى امتحان SAT وتدخل فوراً إلى الجامعة في هذه الحالة فقط.
Thank you for adding that.
Of course.
Okay. So this is a little bit of a segue, but I wanted to make sure that you know that you have the right to see and you should receive a transcript every year. A lot of school districts now, I know in our district, you can just click a button online through our home connection portal and you can see it anytime you want to. So your transcript is like the written proof of your history of the courses that you've taken since you've been in high school. Okay, so they can look a little bit different, but it's something that's a legal document here in California and it's given to the UCs. So it's pretty much all going to be the same. This is one from Fremont. And it really just has different pieces that are important to your history and the classes that you've taken. This is what you're going to turn in when you apply to college. And this is what you're going to use to make sure that you're meeting your graduation requirements as well. So the top section, it just tells you currently the courses that you've already taken, the classes that you've received credit for. So you can see that this student in 9th grade took these classes and these are the grades that they got and this is the credits that they received for it. Now, if you had earned a D or an F on one of these classes, it would show the letter, and then you took it in summer school, it would show the letter R for retake, and then it would show the class grade that you actually, or I'm sorry, the new grade next to it. So the transcript will show if you don't pass a class the first time and you have to take it in summer school. So it's really, really a good idea to make sure that you pass it the first time.
Awesome. كيفية قراءة سجلك المدرسي أو سجل العلامات الخاصة بك. أولاً يجب أن تعرف أنه من حقك أن تأخذ نسخة من سجلك المدرسي من مدرستك، ويجب أن تسلمه للجامعة التي ستذهب إليها. هذا يعتبر هو دليلك لأنك أخذت مواد معينة والتي هي مقرر للذهاب إلى الجامعة التي ستذهب إليها في المستقبل. تريك الصفوف كما توضح الأخت هنا على الشاشة. هذا السجل يريك الصفوف التي أخذتها أو الذي أخذها الطالب بشكل عام، ولكن قد تريك الصفوف التي أخذتها والصفوف التي ستحتاج إلى أخذها، ولكن المشكلة أنها تريك أيضاً ما إذا فشلت في صف من الصفوف. قد تريك الحرف R لتريك بأنه لم تكمل هذا الصف حتى إن أخذته في فترة صيفية لاحقاً كإعادة، ولكنه سيظل في سجلك. فيا حبذا لو استبعدنا هذا الخيار وعملنا بجد حتى لا نعيد أي صف من الصفوف لأنه سيبقى في سجلك المدرسي.
The next portion shows you the courses that are required to graduate, and it shows you how many of them you've already done and how many of them you're currently taking right now.
أوكي. هذا أيضاً المشهد هذا يريك الصفوف التي أخذتها والصفوف التي تحتاجها أو الصفوف المتبقية التي يجب عليك إكمالها.
And then down at the bottom it shows you your GPA. Remember, we need at least a 3.0 to apply to the UC.
أيضاً هذا يريك المعدل الذي حصلت عليه خلال دراسة الجامعة، ويريك بأنه يجب أن تحصل على الأقل 3.5.
All right. So that's the basis of the information that I wanted to share, that we wanted to share with you. These are some helpful websites that would just be good for you to be aware of. The College Board that I referenced earlier, you can sign up for SATs and ACTs there, and you can research scholarships. So it's a really great one to create an account with. Make sure you remember your account number and don't lose that, because if you do qualify for free and reduced lunch, then your SAT and a lot of the AP exams and a lot of the different applications you can request a waiver for them, and you can take those for free, which is a really great benefit for you. But it's attached to the first time you make that account. So if you forget your account and then you make a new one, none of that will be attached to it. The other great thing is that they send a lot of scholarship information through College Board, and you can search for different scholarships based on interests or activities that you're a part of. The sooner you start looking for scholarships, the better. And a lot of times the smaller scholarships are your best bet, because other people will cross by them. They'll say, oh, $100, I don't need to waste my time writing an essay for that. But you might be the only one who wrote that essay, and now you have $100 to spend on your books that you would have had to spend out of your pocket. So every $100 is helpful. The other thing that's important, the FAFSA, the free application for student aid, this is a required first step for most scholarships. Most scholarships will not award you their scholarship and financial aid at the school as well if you haven't first applied to FAFSA. So sometimes California kids will feel like, oh, we make so much money in California, we're not going to get federal aid. But if you haven't filled out the federal aid paperwork, and you need to do that by March of the year that before you're going to start college, then you can't qualify for those other scholarships and financial aid packages as well. So FAFSA is for any US citizen or permanent resident or someone who's approaching permanent residency. Then californiacolleges.edu is a really great website. It has all 333 colleges in California, the community colleges, the CSUs, the UCs, the private schools. And you can search for all sorts of different things. You can look at the major that you're interested in. You can look at the percentage of men to women. I looked at this when I was looking because I really wanted to go to a school that had a strong female presence. So it was nice to see the percentages there. You can look at number of women in STEM programs. You can look at dormitories and if you're required to live in dorms or if dorms are separated by gender or co-ed. You can look at how far it is from your house. So you can put within 50 miles because you want to stay by mom and enjoy her cooking. You can put more than 100 miles because you need a break, however works for you and your family. But California Colleges is a really great website. And then California Career Zone is a really interesting website that I love to do with my students. It's just a lot of fun and it helps you think about some of those important future ideas. For instance, this year with our students at my school, we did the lifestyle choices module. And so instead of looking at what you want to do when you grow up, we looked at what you want to have when you grow up. Do you want to own your own car? Do you want to own your own house? Do you want to go out to eat? Do you want to go to the movies? Do you want to have a cell phone? Do you want to pay an electric bill? Do you want to be able to charge your cell phone? And you click all the things that you want and it adds based on your zip code how much money it costs to have all of those things. And then at the end, it gives you a budget that says if you're going to have all this stuff, you need to make this much money per year. And then it helps you look at careers that pay that much in the area that you live in. So it's a really interesting thing to do. For one, it's just nice for kids to realize like how hard it is to live here if you don't get an education. It's really, really important to get an education. And the second thing is that sometimes it helps us modify what we want or be thankful for the things we have a little more by realizing it's very, very expensive to have all of those things. And maybe I would prefer to not have to go to college for so many years and not have so much stuff. So it's good to process both sides of it. And then again, as I said before, please talk to your school counselor. They get paid a lot of money. I'm a school counselor. This is our full-time job to talk to you and make sure that you're prepared for the future that you want. You are worth their time. You are their whole job. Even if it's only 5 minutes that you go in and just double check, please make an appointment every year. Just check in, ask to go over your transcript together, tell them what your goals are and make sure you're on the right track. And then most schools have a career counselor as well. You definitely have a career center. The Career Center is a great place to be visiting. They'll have college and career nights where they'll have different colleges come and visit. They're doing those virtually right now. I know the CSUs have been all over the place doing virtual college nights. So check in with your career counselor and find out when those virtual nights are and go visit some colleges.
Awesome. كما سمعتم ربكا شاركتنا بالكثير من أسماء المواقع والكثير من المعلومات الجيدة والمفيدة. لن أستطيع ترجمتها جميعها ولكن سأترجم النقاط الرئيسية. هي شاركتكم مواقع مساعدة أو مفيدة مثل كولج بورد. هذا الموقع يساعدك في التسجيل لاختبارات SAT, ACT وأيضاً يشاركك في البحث عن المنح الدراسية المتواجدة. أيضاً شاركتنا موقع Federal Student Aid وهذا هو الذي يطلق عليه بالاسم المصغر فافسا. هذا أكبر موقع من الولاية والذي يساعدك ويعطيك المساعدات المالية بحسب الاحتياج. أيضاً شاركتنا موقع كاليفورنيا College Education وهذا الموقع يساعدنا بالبحث عن جامعات قريبة من موقعك، أيضاً ما نوعها وما نظامها وأي شهادة ستعطيك وما الذي قد تمنحك بعد التخرج منها. أيضاً شاركتنا موقع كاليفورنيا كارير زون وهو موقع يساعدك باكتشاف وظائف وأيضاً التعرف على الرواتب التي قد تحصل عليها أو التي ترغب فيها ونوعية الحياة التي تتمناها. أيضاً هي قالت لنا بأنه يجب عليك أن تبحث عن هذه المعلومات. زر هذه المواقع، فيها أشياء مفيدة جداً جداً قد تبهرك أنت أيضاً وقد تعجبك، ولكن تذكر أن المصدر الرئيسي للمعلومات هو المختص الاجتماعي في مدرستك مثلها في مدرستها. اذهب إليه واسأله الأسئلة التي تدور بذهنك. أي سؤال أنت لست متأكدا منه، أي شيء أنت تريد معلومات إضافية عنه، لا تتردد أبداً في الذهاب إلى هذا الشخص، وتذكر أنه يعمل، أن هذا عمله، وأنه يستلم راتب لمساعدتك. فتذكر هذا دائماً واستخدم هذا المصدر المتواجد لك مجانياً.
And our last and most important slide. You've got this. You can do this. We believe in you. You have a wonderful support system. You're very, very fortunate to be part of this program. Please reach out and ask for help if you need it. You have your parents, you have this program. You can contact me anytime. I'm more than happy to help you as well. Believe in yourself. Keep pushing for your dreams.
Awesome. آخر فقرة في هذا العرض هي أهم فقرة في العرض كامل. تذكر أنت قادر على فعل هذا. نحن نؤمن بك. لديك نظام دعم رائع. تواصل واطلب المساعدة عندما تحتاجها. ثق بنفسك واستمر في السعي لتحقيق أحلامك.
All right, that was awesome. Thank you guys so much for that wonderful and very informative presentation. We did have one question come up during the chat. We'll get to that question first, and then I'll get to the questions that people submitted through their RSVP form. So the first question is from Aham Amari, and that person said, can you finish 10th grade and then take CHSPE? Then you go to community college, but with the CHSPE and 2 years of community college, will I still be able to transfer to a private university or a UC, even though I don't have a high school diploma? And then Rebecca, can you explain to us what the CHSPE is? Because some of us may not be familiar with that.
Yeah, so that's the California High School Proficiency Exam. So you can apply after 10th grade if you just don't want to go to high school anymore. It's pretty much like saying peace out to high school and you can move on with your life. You have to show proficiency in high school requirements, which is essentially Algebra 1. So Aham, I was really impressed with you when I saw this question. Good for you. You have drive. I can tell that you want to go places and you want to go fast. And I hear you and I feel that. My best professional advice to you on this though, is that when you start community college, and yes, you can start community college with your proficiency exam, and then you can move forward and you can go to a private college. You can always do anything you want if you work hard enough. Okay. And it sounds like you're someone who wants to work hard. But this is where it's a little tricky. You have to pass an entrance exam to go to the college classes at the community college as well. And if you get the proficiency exam from high school, you're not realistically going to have taken the courses needed to pass that college entrance exam, because you need to have passed and have the skill level for English 12 and Algebra 2. And so your essay skills aren't going to be up to those of a senior in high school. Your math skills aren't going to be up to those of a senior in high school. You'll have graduation requirements, but you won't be at the level where you'll be ready to enter the university. So what they'll do is they'll have you take a placement exam, and then they'll place you in 11th grade English and probably geometry or Algebra 2, and you'll pay to take those classes at the community college, and you'll pay for the textbooks. And then those classes won't count as credits toward your transfer. They'll count as classes and you'll get credit for them, and then you'll be able to move up. But it's not until you get to the college level courses that they're actually going to count toward your transfer degree. So it's a much better idea to stay in high school where it's free and where the books are free, and take the classes there. And then if you're at some advanced levels, you can take what's called advanced placement classes in high school. Advanced placement classes are college level courses you take in high school You pay, it's I think $120 for the AP exam at the end of the year. If you have free and reduced lunch, you can get it for free. And if you pass that test, then you get the college credits for free too. So being in high school is a much, much better option for you because all of those things are free and you're going to be paying for the credits if you take them at the community college.
And just to add on really quickly, and again, we're coming from the world of education, right? All of us are educators, so we're all going to probably say similar answers as far as stay in high school, just because if you want to take that route, the CHSPE route, it is much more difficult and you have to be like a very independently driven person because when you go to community college, you know, you're expected to be at the college level. Like Rebecca said, you're going to take a college placement exam. Based off those results, you could be placed in remedial courses that set you back a year, which means an extra year of courses in English and math, possibly, which means an extra year of tuition. Also, Rebecca brought up the issue of AP exams. If you pass those exams, you get college credit. Also, there's something now called concurrent enrollment classes. I don't know if FUSD offers this, but OUSD does offer this at most of their high schools. And I know people are signed up, people that RSVP'd are coming from Fremont, OUSD, and San Francisco Unified, the majority of people in here. So at OUSD, a concurrent enrollment class is a college class that's taught at the high school level, where a community college professor comes to the high school and teaches like a small group of seniors. So we did this at McClymonds when I was there from 2013 to 2016. So that's another way to get college credits early while you're in high school, other than the AP exam. But again, Ahem, it's up to you, but we're giving you our professional advice. So you have to be very independently motivated to take that route in terms of you know, leaving high school early. I'm sorry, Sina, I know that's a lot to translate.
Well, I'll mention the main points إن شاء الله. هذا الطالب ذكر وقال هل يمكنني أن أخذ الطريق القصير إلى الجامعة؟ وبالمناسبة أنا أعرف هذا الطالب شخصياً وهو طالب مجتهد جداً ودرجاته كلها A+. هذا الطالب لا يريد الاستمرار في دراسة المرحلة الثانوية ويريد الانتقال مباشرة إلى الجامعة، فسأل هل يمكنني أن أقوم بأخذ امتحان AAYSP. هذا الامتحان يسمى أو ترجمته بالعربية امتحان الكفاءة في ولاية كاليفورنيا. هذا الامتحان يخول الطالب من الذهاب مباشرة إلى كلية المجتمع، لا يخول الطالب من الذهاب مباشرة إلى جامعة UC، ولكن يخوله من الذهاب إلى جامعة المجتمع، وهناك ستقلب الطريق بشكل أو آخر ويعطى له نفس الدروس التي كان سيأخذها في الثانوية العامة للصف 11 والصف 12. لماذا؟ لأنه لم ينتهي من جميع المتطلبات التي تعده أو تؤهله للذهاب إلى الجامعة ذات ال4 أعوام الUC. فلذلك لا زال يحتاج لأن يأخذ جميع هذه الفصول المقررة وسيأخذها في الكوميونيتي كولج أو جامعة المجتمع. نوهت الأخت ربكا إلى أن هناك طريقة ما دمت تريد تقصير الوقت للدخول مباشرة إلى الجامعة، هناك طريقة أن تستمر. ونحن طبعا جميعنا في هذه الجلسة، ربكا، محمد وأنا، جميعنا نعمل في مجال التدريس، فلذلك جميعنا ضد هذه الفكرة ونحبذ لو تنتهي من فصول الجامعة كاملة 4 سنوات وتعطيها حقها. ولكن هناك طريقة، قال بأن تضيف خلال سنوات الثانوية مادة AP، وهي فصول متقدمة تعطى لك خلال مرحلة الثانوية وتمتحن. إذا فعلتها مقدما في خلال العامين هاتين 9 و10 قد يعطى لك امتحان، وإذا تفوقت فيه إذن تذهب إلى الجامعة كطالب جامعي. ما إذا لم تقابل هذه المتطلبات، إذن ستذهب إلى الجامعة وستأخذ عامين من دراسة ما يمكنك دراسته في الثانوية العامة مجانا.
And another question just popped up through the chat. So two questions popped up in the chat based off those responses. One person asked, does marking period grades and GPA count towards us when we apply to colleges. And this is from Sedwan. And then Sedwan, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you asking like, do the marking period grades count versus like the semester grades? Is that what you're asking? Yes. So Sedwan said yes. So do you want to explain the difference between marking period grades and semester grades? There's really not a difference, but I think this is a common question that I get from a lot of students as well. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, I answered this for one of my kids today at school. In fact, she was really stressed out because our grading period is ending on Friday and she doesn't have the grade she wanted, but it's just a progress grade. Your semester grades are the grades that count toward credits or not credits. So obviously, if you're not doing well during the year, I mean, you can't get an F all year long and then suddenly do a whole bunch of extra credit and pull the grade to an A. So you need to be consistently working hard and keeping that grade up. But the only grade that's going to count when you're applying to college is the one that shows up on your transcript. It's the semester grade. And then that's going to be what your GPA is based off of. So some schools do it a little differently than others. The UCs allow up to 5 AP classes to be identified as well. And then the 5 up to 5 AP classes, so you can take more than 5, but for up to 5 classes, they'll let you add to your GPA for those courses. So if you get an A in an AP class, it's actually worth 5 points on a 4-point scale. I know that's a little bit confusing, but basically you get a little bit of a bonus on your GPA if you take an AP class, up to 5 of them.
أوكي ممتاز. سألت الطالبة سلوان وقالت ما هو الفرق بين period grades or semester grades والتي تعد period grades يعني درجات المدة المعينة لمدة معينة دراسة أو درجات آخر الترم أو نصف الترم. فقالت لها الأخت ربكة التي سيحسب لها هي درجات الترم لأنها هي المهمة وهي التي ستكون في سجلها الدراسي، ولكنها أيضا وضحت أنه يجب العمل بجد خلال مدة الترم كاملة أو طوال السنة الدراسية لأنهم يرون تقدمك فقرة بفقرة أو مرحلة بمرحلة، لذلك توجب عليك العمل بجد بشكل عام، ولكن لا تقلق إذا حدث شيء ما أخر من درجاتك. الذي يحسب لك بشكل عام هي درجات الترم. وكذلك نوهت إلى أنه إذا أخذت AP classes وهي الفصول المتقدمة في أي مرحلة هذه لوحدها وأخذت فيها درجة A ستعطيك 5 درجات تنقلك يعني أو تزيد من معدلك بشكل عام.
Awesome. And then another question so it's not a good idea to take college classes while being in high school. And I think this is in reference to when I mentioned concurrent enrollment classes. And even though technically AP classes are not college classes, but you can get college credit if you pass the exam, not the class. For me personally, what I've seen I've seen students at the high school level take concurrent enrollment classes, and they didn't know what they really were, and they ended up like I knew a few students that failed a concurrent enrollment class, which was horrible for that student because that F actually goes on their college transcript. So their first college transcript grade was from that concurrent enrollment class, and it was an F. So you want to make sure whatever the concurrent enrollment class you're signing up for at the high school level is something that you're interested in and something that you feel like is manageable from a skill set wise. Did you want to add on to that, Rebecca?
In Fremont, we have the only concurrent enrollment class that I'm aware that students take on a routine basis is American Sign Language, and it's the higher levels of it. For the most part, I think students take the AP classes. They did just do a few changes to that with some of the math pieces. But I agree with you, Mohammed. The important thing, the reason that it really matters if you have an F on your college transcript is because it affects if you can get into graduate school. If you're going to community college and you're doing a transfer to a 4-year university, they're going to look at your GPA, and that F is going to be part of it. if it's in a class that's part of your major, sometimes they require that you not get anything lower than a B in the courses in your major in order to move forward. So it can really, it has a lot more consequences than an AP class does.
Awesome. أحد الطلاب سأل وقال هل تقولون إذن أن صفوف الAP التي تعرض عليهم خلال المرحلة الثانوية لا تساوي أو لا تعادل صفوف الجامعة ويفضل عدم أخذها؟ وضح الأخ محمد أنه هناك صفوف، هو قال أنك إذا نجحت بصفوف الAP classes خلال مرحلة الثانوية هذا يعد شيء، وأخذ امتحان الAP بالكولج أو بالجامعة التي ستذهب إليها هذا شيء آخر. فيحبذ إذا أخذت أي صفوف متقدمة which is advanced يعني AP classes في المرحلة الثانوية يجب أن تتأكد أنه صف أنت تحبه وتود دراسته ويمكنك أن تتحكم فيه أو أن تعطيه ما يستحق من عمل وجهد، لأنه للأسف إذا أخذت هذا الصف وتعبت خلال المرحلة الثانوية بهذا الAP كلاس ولكن ذهبت إلى الجامعة وقدم لك امتحان الAP ولم تعمل بشكل جيد وأخذت درجة مثل الF يعني درجة راسبة، إذن هذا سيضرك جدا 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 عندما تقرر الالتحاق بجامعة ال4 سنوات. فيفضل إذا كنت تتخيل نفسك أنك قدر هذا الصف وقدر التحمل والعمل الجاد في هذا الصف، إذن خذه وتأكد أن الامتحان في الجامعة سيكون امتحانا مطورا باعتبار أن هذا الصف كان متطورا أيضا. إذا لم تكن قدره وعندك كما يقولون في صحنك ما يكفي فلا تأخذه إطلاقا لأن مضاره ستكون أكثر من فوائده.
So unfortunately, we are running low on time, and I do want to respect the time of the guest speakers. What I'm going to do, Hisham, is I'm going to communicate with Rebecca, and I'm going to have the presentation posted up on the AAYSP website. I know the video of the presentation will be posted on there too, but yes, just to have the slides as a point of reference, because there's some really resourceful websites in the slides. What I will also do in coordination with Hisham is I'll leave my contact information, my email, and I'll leave Rebecca's email as well too, just because I know we didn't get to some of the questions on the RSVP forms. We didn't get to all of them. Sina, did you want to translate or add on to that?
No, I was just thinking about answering the questions that they sent us, some of the students. Do you think we can do them in a very quick way, or the time is up and we can't?
I'm okay, but Rebecca, I want to respect Rebecca's time. Rebecca.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's try to do rapid fire. Plus, it's almost Maghrib too, and we have to pray in a few minutes anyway.
Yeah, let's target 5 minutes to complete all of them quickly.
Okay, let me try to do rapid fire. So the one about the CHSP that was already answered. The next question that wasn't answered was, how can we make grants and scholarships more accessible to students and their families? I am a high school teacher and very interested in this issue.
That one's not a 5-minute question.
Okay.
I am with you. 100%. When I wrote this to Sina, I said, I wish I had a magic wand to make that happen. The best thing that I can recommend is apply early to California, the College Board. Make an account with College Board and just look all the time for scholarships. It's really important that you're applying for those little ones because those are your best bets to get them and they add up. And then the other thing is make sure you take your FAFSA. And then when you do get accepted to a college, you need to go to the financial aid office and talk to the financial aid officer about what options they have for you and what kind of packages they can give you.
Awesome. من الصعب الحصول على المنح الدراسية ونتمنى لو كان من الممكن تقديمها للجميع، لكن تذكر كلما كان التقديم لها أسهل كلما زاد عدد المتقدمين. لتكن البداية بتعبئة استمارة فافسا إذا كنت مواطنا أمريكيا أو مقيما دائما، ثم قم بإنشاء حساب كولج بورد وهو موجود في هذا العرض، من خلاله سيرسلون لك إخطارات حول المنح الدراسية المتواجدة.
بس إضافة بسيطة أخت أستاذة سينا، أنه هناك العديد من المنح المتاحة لدى الطلاب والطالبات.
نعم.
وخاصة كأقلية معينة ففرصها أكثر بكثير، فما على الشخص إلا أن يثابر ويقدم على عدد المنح الممكنة.
فعلا. awesome.
And then the next question was, how many scores do we need in order to enter the university? I wasn't sure if this question was referring to GPA or class requirements. I guess we can just very quickly reference like what is the recommended GPA, and then I think we can just start from there, just recommended GPA.
You need to get at least a C in every class. So a C or better in every class that's part of the A to G requirements. The recommended GPA is at least a 3.0, and you need to take and pass with a C every single class on the A to G list. If you want to email me, there's actually a really nice little check sheet that has all the classes that you can check off as you take them. I really like all that kind of graph stuff. So.
And Rebecca mentioned earlier, the higher your GPA is, then, you know, that kind of like, whatever your SAT score, if it's low, then your GPA has to be higher to kind of balance it out.
awesome. أحدهم سأل ما هو التقدير الذي نحتاجه لدخول الجامعة؟ الجواب: لدخول الجامعة أولاً يجب عليك أن تتخرج من المدرسة الثانوية بالإضافة إلى اجتيازك لجميع متطلبات A through G بدرجة C على الأقل. طبعاً يفضل درجة أعلى من درجة C، وأيضاً بمعدل 3.0.
This is the last question on the RSVP form. Somebody wrote, I came from Yemen at the beginning of 2019. I have been in school for a year in grade 9. I am in grade 10 now. I am 18 years old. I want to finish high school as soon as I can. What do you recommend I should do to finish high school in the shortest way possible and be able to go to a university without attending a community college? So there's a lot, I know there's a lot to unpack in that question, but we'll try our best.
My response would still be the same as it was for IHM, that stay in high school. High school is your cheapest, most direct route into university. You're not going to pay for the textbooks. You're not going to pay for the credits. Even at community college, if you don't graduate from high school, you have to pay for the credits, and they're $54 a credit. So you're saving yourself a lot of money by doing it in high school for free.
Awesome. إحدى الأخوات سألت: جئت من اليمن في بداية العام 2019. لقد كنت في المدرسة لمدة عام في الصف التاسع. أنا الآن في الصف العاشر، عمري 16 سنة. أريد إنهاء المدرسة الثانوية بأسرع وقت. ما الذي تنصحونني به لإنهاء المدرسة الثانوية بأقصر طريقة ممكنة للتمكن من الالتحاق بالجامعة دون الالتحاق بكلية المجتمع؟ جاوبت الأخت ريبيكا: أفضل رهان هو البقاء في المدرسة الثانوية، ونحن دائما ننصح به، وأخذ أكبر عدد ممكن من الفصول الدراسية هناك مجانا. يمكنك حضور فصول AP والتي تمنحك رصيدا جامعيا إذا نجحت في الاختبار. ستكسب أرصدة جامعية للدراسة مجانا، وبالتالي ستكون مؤهلا للالتحاق بجامعات أفضل. فلا تأخذوا الطريق الأقصر، خذوا الطريق الأطول لأنه هو الأضمن.
I want to give a quick comment here. I know this topic was about AG requirements, but I just want to encourage the students that having extracurricular activities enhances your application and makes it much better to get into the top schools. ممكن تترجمي هذا أستاذ؟
نعم هناك صفوف تعتبر صفوف إضافية تعبر عن مدى التزامك وعن مدى حبك للهوايات أو لمجال معين. فقط تريهم أنك تقوم بهذه الأنشطة الإضافية باستمرار لسنوات عديدة. هذا يضيف إلى رصيدك عند التخرج، لأنها تعطيهم فكرة حجم مسؤوليتك وحجم استمرارك في العمل بمجال معين لوقت أطول.
And I'm sorry, I lied to everybody. Two very important questions came in, but they're both related, and I swear these are the last questions. Ala asked, Ala is a 12th grader, and Ala asked that I didn't get to take the SAT last year because of COVID. Can I take it now? And then Ayad also asked, is the SAT required this year?
Yes, still take it. Do it. November 7th, I think, November 9th. It's on the slide. The next one, go to College Board, look it up. It is required right now. Yes, to both of you. However, remember, based on your GPA, there's kind of a sliding scale. So it really depends what school you want to go to. If you want to go to a community college, you don't have to take the SAT. If you want to go to a CSU or a UC, you do need to take it.
أحدهم سأل وقال هو حالياً في الصف الثاني عشر وللأسف لم يأخذ الSAT امتحان بسبب ظروف الكورونا فأجابت هل من الممكن أو هل من الضروري أخذه؟ فأجابت وقالت نعم هي تحبذ أن يأخذه إذن اذهب وسجل في موقع كولج بورد تقريبا الامتحان سيكون قريبا في نوفمبر 7 أو نوفمبر 9 الرجاء التحقق من التاريخ هناك هو مطلوب لا يزال متطلب منك ولكن إذا نويت أن تذهب إلى كلية المجتمع فلن يكون هو مطلوبا منك وتذكر أنه بحسب معدلك هذا قد يعطيك فرصة لأن لا تأخذه وتذهب إلى الجامعة مباشرة إذا كان معدلك عالي.
Okay, and we're going to go ahead and post the information from today's presentation on the AAYSP's Facebook page. I know...
Yeah, Muhammad, if I may add something, and just we're going to end it here. We will post the whole video online and on the website, and then maybe over time we will take clips of it because there's a lot of valuable information that was shared in segments. One last question I want to ask Rebecca, and I want to have Sina kind of comment on. And this is just related to the parents and the family support. If you want to just give 10 seconds, 20 seconds, just an advice to the parents and how important it is for them to support their kids throughout their journey.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're the number one most important thing in your kid's life. And the more that they pretend you're not, the more important you are. Your support is invaluable and they've made it where they are because of you. You've worked really hard and you should take a minute to celebrate what a great job you've done. Also, your students, really, this is kind of a make or break. A lot of students, a large percentage, don't make it through the first year of college. And a big piece of that is the college lifestyle, the American culture, a lot of partying, not being organized, not paying attention to their classes. It's really important as your kids are going away to college that they're still your kids and you're still checking in on them and making sure they're doing okay and checking their grades all the time, just like you do now.
Awesome. للمرة الوحيدة التي لن أترجم فيها ما قالته ربكا ولكن سأقول رأيي أنا الشخصي نصيحتي كأم وكمعلمة أنصح الآباء والأمهات أن يستثمرون بأولادهم استمروا بالدعم استمروا بدعم أولادكم في مجالات عديدة تعرفوا على احتياجاتهم لتضمنوا بأن مسيرتهم التعليمية ستسير بسلام يجب المراقبة مطلوبة ولكن أيضا المراقبة تذهب يدا بيد مع تفهمهم وتفهم احتياجاتهم دعمكم مطلوب حتى إذا ذهبوا إلى جامعات سواء محلية أو في ولايات أخرى لا يزالون أطفالكم ولا يزالون باحتياجكم فتأكدوا من دعمهم وتذكروا أنهم أكبر استثمار بحياتكم.
And inshallah, the AAYSP College and Career Program will be hosting monthly events. So next month, the month of November, we will be hosting a college application presentation. And each month we'll have different guest speakers. But similar to this format, it will be very informative. And there will be a time for Q&A afterwards. Can we just have a round of applause or a digital round of applause for our presenters? Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you so much, Sina. Thank you, Hisham, for organizing this. If there's anything else you want to add on, Hisham, before we go?
No, I want to really thank Rebecca and Sina for their time. I want to thank Muhammad as well. He's joined us from San Francisco Unified School District. We welcome your support and continued contribution to our community. And I want to thank Muhammad Al-Garmi for putting this together. He spent a lot of time putting this together. And inshallah, hopefully the program will be a great success moving forward.
Inshallah. Okay, everybody, have a good night. Assalamu alaikum, and please check the Facebook page for this presentation and the video as well. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام.